Hi guys, I'm back with another video. Okay, I just woke up from a long ass nap. I was so tired today after work and cleaning and getting Javion settled and stuff like that. So I was really tired. I took a long nap and I was like, I gotta finish this laundry because this laundry's been due. So yeah, and I was really tired. I took a long nap and I was like, I gotta finish this laundry because this laundry's been due. So yeah, and stuff. I ate like 20 chicken nuggets today. Like, this baby has me eating a lot. And if y'all don't know already, if you guys are not on my TikTok, follow me with Sheenique B. It'll be in the description box. I have my gender reveal on there. It's a boy, and as you can see, the crib, I have some stuff in there that needs to get settled. So I still need to get a lot of boys' clothes because I haven't really got much stuff. And there's a baby registry up there. I'll also put that in the description as well if you guys want to send me something for the baby. Very small. I don't usually like to do those things, but people are like, let us help. So I hope, you know, people stick to their word and they do help. But I mean, whatever it is, I'm grateful for it. And you guys also have the option of sending something that, you know, you guys want to send for the baby as well. So yeah, this video is going to be a very deep video. It's going to be very hard for me to speak about. It's always hard for me to speak about, but you know, I'm working on an album about my story, and this is called My Trauma Story. This is what I went through with family leading up to my pregnancy with my first son, which is Javion. So I'm going to be going into detail about it and speaking about it as well, because it's been hard. I struggle with a lot from it, and it's long-term effects. Like, that shit, like, people think trauma and abuse is something light that doesn't have long-term effects, that you could just let it go and get over it. No, because some people, if it's like very short-term, then yeah, like I could say some of them could let go of it. But if it's like years, like me, for a very long time, the effects that you will go through, the long-term effects, is super damaging to yourself, to your body, to your mind, everything, to your persona, to who you are. And, you know, I couldn't understand a lot of my behaviors growing up. I couldn't understand, like, how I was as a teenager. I couldn't understand, like, why I did certain things, because I didn't have therapy. I didn't have those access, like, those resources, like, I didn't have access to those resources to me. I also didn't know they existed, because I was like, you know, I was very closed off to the world. I was very sheltered. I was very stuck inside all the time with my family. So, you know, that's another reason why I wasn't able to learn a lot of things. Like, I actually learned a lot of things very late because of my family. So before I get into the deep ass of abuse, let me just drink some coffee. So obviously, I grew up in a family of me and my two older brothers, and my father and my mother. I grew up seeing my parents fight all the fucking time. Like, there was no peace in the blood clot house. There's only peace when there was one of them gone at work or something like that. But there was no peace because there's always fighting. Sometimes domestic violence a little bit. But most of the time it was always fighting. And the thing is about my family is I was always the black sheep. I was always the odd one out because I did not like the way they were trying to make us look towards people. I also didn't like the way they were trying to make us seem like we're so perfect and like we have it all together and that we have to act a certain way all the time. And that's a lot of the times, that's why me and my mom got into a lot of arguments, because I didn't like the way she was acting as a female. Like, she reminded me of these other girls that I grew up with around, like, where they act like they're bad and they have this nasty ass attitude and they have this like mentality. I me and her did not get along because of that, because I was like, I don't like how she's acting. Like, that's not who I am. And so I didn't really know much about insecurities. I didn't really acknowledge them, to be honest, until I got into relationships. And that's when I realized that, like, okay, like, wow, these people, like guys, can really make you feel like shit. But I realized that maybe my insecurities were already there from my mom, like making me insecure. Because I realized it after. Because certain things that I was like, she was telling me that I now noticed with guys, like, that were pointing out, that I was like, oh, okay. So, you know, it's kind of like if you're, like, for example, when me and my mom were going out or whatever, and my brother would come with us to the movies. This is my second oldest brother. She would literally, like, walk ahead with my brother. And this happened every time. Like, you know when you have, like, your siblings, and then, like, once in a blue moon they'll make fun of you and say, like, some weird shit or whatever. So that happened every time we went out and in the house. So it wasn't normal to me, and that's something that's not normal to me. If you're constantly making fun of a sibling or your daughter on a regular basis, putting her down each time, that tells me that there's something off in the family and there's something off with what's going on. So my brothers purposely, and it'd be dark outside, like my brother and my mom would purposely leave me outside walking ahead of me in the dark, or would make fun of me, make fun of like how I am, my clothes or whatever, when she was the one buying me the clothes. And would look back and laugh and walk ahead of me, and I would just be quiet and I'd just be sad. And then when I get home, I would tell my dad, because my dad was like the person I was closest to. And then it started from there. She would also put us against each other, like me and my brother, he's a rapper in Toronto. A lot of people know him. And so basically, she would make us sing, and she knew that I always wanted to learn to sing, and I knew at the time I wasn't a good ass singer, and now I'm like all right, and I'm proud of like how my voice has gained so much, because I was able to access a vocal teacher properly as I got older. After I had my son, I was able to do exactly what I wanted to do, and something that was making me so happy. And I'm bomb-ass good at songwriting. I'm still working on my voice, and that's something that I've learned to appreciate and understand about myself. And so far, a lot of people do like my music, and I just think that, like, younger, when she would like pin us against each other. Like, we had we were at home, and we had like this competition of like singing "Oh Canada" or something like that. It was one of those songs, and then I say, and then she would be like, at the end, she'd be like, oh, Sheenique's the winner. I lied, no. She'll say my brother is the winner, or whatever. I don't want to say his name. So it was just like very like emotional. At those times I would cry. I would just mostly stay in my room, because I was like, my room was like my safe place. It was like my safe place, and there was a lot of things that also like, someone's calling me, but I'll probably call them after. But it was my safe place. It was something that really had me in my own world, my own imagination. And I was like very, like, no one could literally tell me anything. I was just in my room. So basically, like, that was one of the two things that really like was like, I felt like I was getting bullied at home. And then as I started to get older, and like a figure started to show more, my face started to grow, my hair is pretty long. You know, when you start to get older, and then you have to get your training bra and whatnot. So basically, like, we went to the mall, and this is the time where La Zenza was like popping. Like, La Zenza was like my favorite ass store. It was still available. And basically my mom invited her friend, and basically her friend, we went to the mall at Ian Center, because I'm based in Toronto, and we went to La Zenza, and we were looking at training bras, and I really wanted this like cute ass training bra. And then there's a lady at the store, and then there's another woman that was there too, and they were like, oh, they're just laughing at the size of my boobs at the time, because they were small. but they're small, but they're like big enough to peek through a shirt. So at the end of the day, I'm not gonna fucking wear a shirt that's peeking my, what's it called, like nipples out in class when I have a male fucking teacher. Like, no. So, and my friend was the one who told me, she's like, Sheenique, you need a training bra. Like, you need a training bra. So I told my mom. And so they're making fun of me in the store, and literally the fucking store clerk was looking at them weird, because it was like, she was like, okay, it's okay, like you can have like this one, don't worry about it. But you could tell on her face that like she was looking at them like they're so weird, like as like a mother and like a woman, like why are you doing that to somebody? Why are you like, you know, making her feel insecure? So that was one thing that really started it. And the second thing was like when we were home, like as I started to get very pretty, I started to show more. I was really, really skinny. And at the time when these stuff were going on, I wasn't eating a lot. Like I started to like starve myself. I started to like not really eat a lot of food, and like and honestly it was just mainly because of like what I was also going through with my father, but I will get into that in a minute. So she basically would tell me at 13, like, your husband, when you get a husband, he's gonna hate you. When you get kids, they're gonna hate you too. You're never gonna be pretty. You're basically never gonna gain weight. Like you're just always gonna be fucking skinny. Like you're never ever gonna gain weight. And like that shit really hurt. And this is why like I suffer from anorexia, and I just continuously to start myself to cope with how I was feeling. And I would eat food, but it just wasn't enough, because at the end of the day, I started feeling weird. I started to not have energy. I started to feel cold. Like I became like anemic. Like my iron iron was low. So basically, she just kept saying those things. She kept saying those things. She kept saying those things. And I always felt like she would like constantly buy clothes or not put effort into buying the new shoes for me or clothes for me that I wanted, but she would buy stuff that would like she preferred, that it wasn't in. Like I didn't really have the clothes like my friends had the clothes, and she would just buy whatever she thought she wanted to buy. And as I started to get older, like she started buying like pants. Like she knew that my legs were long, so she would basically buy clothes like pants on purpose that were shorter, so that like to keep my ankles. Like she did not know how to fucking be a mother as a female. Like she sucked ass. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. But she literally did these things on purpose. And so I would overhear, like I overheard a conversation of like her and my brothers talking, and they're like, oh, you know, Sheenique's not really like your real sister or some shit like that. And then my brother came into my room, my second oldest brother, the one who's a rapper, and he told me on multiple occasions, this is not even a joke, he told me on multiple occasions that you're basically not my sister. When I asked, she couldn't look me in my face and tell me the truth. So the father I was going over, I still don't know to this day, but the father was like, the therapists that I did go to, like at the time, like one told me, like there's a few that told me he's not, and there's a few that told me he is. So I think I'll find out later, eventually. But I just feel like that, but also what led into like me also thinking that is what I went through with my father, which I'm going to get into now. So my brother constantly was telling me this, and it's not like it was funny. It was like, you're just constantly telling me this, so obviously I'm gonna start thinking it. So basically my mom, I think she like blamed me for like their marriage ruining or some shit like that. So honestly, the far as I can remember is when I started getting abused by my father sexually, was around 6 years old. That's as far as I can remember, but I'm sure it probably started when I was 3. But it kept going, and it got to a point when I think when I reached 12, I think I started to feel uncomfortable, because I started to wake up, like I would wake up with like his hand on my ass. I would wake up with him like grooming me, and like as an instinct, I don't know, I was just 12 years old, just feeling uncomfortable. I started getting up earlier. I started getting up very earlier and like getting ready. And I can hear him coming up those stairs, those steps. It's not like you're walking up the stairs normally. It's like those, you're skipping a step. Like those giant skipper steps. And I honestly, like, I don't know what my mind was. I was probably just really smart. But I got up very early, and as soon as I heard stuff, I would close my door and I would push my nightstand against the door, and I would like, get dressed, and like I'll be ready, brush my teeth, close the bathroom door, and it just started to happen like every day. Like there was no break. The only break I would get is when I stepped over my neighbor's house. But that wasn't all the time. Like, I would sleep over once in a blue moon at their house. But because I was always with them anyways. Like, I was always chilling with them anyways. And they were like a second family to me. Obviously, we don't talk now because, you know, everybody grows up and we split and whatnot. But I do thank them for a lot of things as well. But they were like my second home. They were like my second family. They really showed me. Obviously, no friends pick. I don't know their business. I don't really care to know. But they showed me what the fuck a family's supposed to be like. Like a family gathering, whatever it is. Like they just showed me exactly what it was supposed to be like. So when I would go back to my house, it would just be weird. Like I'd just be stuck in the same energy all the fucking time and still getting abused by my father. And I would yell out sometimes when it was happening. And my mom would sit there in the bathroom and not say nothing. She would not say fucking nothing at all. Like, she would just be literally there acting like she didn't care. Like, and I don't think she did care because she didn't care to stop it. She didn't care to stop it, and she knew it was happening. So, it's like she just took the anger out on me. She got jealous. And she kept taking the anger out on me. She's like, one time, like, she was doing my hair. And she was being rude to him. And I was always defending my dad because I guess I was confused at the fact that, like, what he was doing to me was wrong. But then it seemed right to me because of what he would do. Like, he would buy me gifts. And, like, not telling me to shut up. He never told me to shut up. He would just be, like, giving me the gifts. So, basically, like, after that happened, like, and she would do my hair sometimes. She would take her anger on me. She would say something rude about my dad. And I would start defending him, and then she, like, would hit my head or whatever. She's like, you think I give a fuck if you like your dad more than me? And I'm like, and, like, and I told my dad or whatever. I would always tell my dad. And it was just, like, he would page her about it. So, like, I don't know, she just did much not care. Like, she didn't care at all. So, basically, they started to get worse as I got older. Because then why? I started to date. And then when I started to get older, I started to get boobs, started to wear more stuff. Like, he'd always be watching me. And then he had a friend in the house that was in the area, that lived in the same neighborhood as us. Just the building, like, up our street, like, beside us. And, like, he brought him over one time. And, like, his friend was watching me. Like, watching my ass uncomfortably. I already seen it. And I told my dad. He's like, I know I see it, but my dad didn't do shit. To the point that guy started sexually harassing me on the street every time he could see me. He would be, like, yelling shit out. He'll be riding on his bike close to me, like, trying to whisper in my ear. And then when I told my mom and my brothers were like, no, that's dad's friend. He should tell him. And they were avoiding telling him. Like, they didn't want to tell him. And my dad was like, that's your mom's friend. That's not my friend. They were all avoiding telling him. They never told him. He still continued to do it. Until I started to get really rude. Like, I started to, like, tell friends. I started to, like, you know, people who are walking with me and we would see him. I started to tell them. I started to get overprotective over my friends, too. Like, whenever I would see, I would block them from it. And then I would also start stomping on his foot. Like, I started being really rude. And so basically, they never did shit. So it happened for a long time. And it was a few of them that, like, started doing, like, making, like, comments or whatnot. And I just ignored it most of the time because it was really annoying. And then, what else? Whew. Wow, crazy. Got through half of that story. So basically, yeah, it got worse as I got a boyfriend. And like my boyfriend came and he'd be like, this is my other boyfriend's not really didn't meet my family. Only one of them met. Only two met my family. And the other one didn't last long, so it didn't really matter. But I realized I had anxiety because my brother, who's a rapper, would blackmail me each time he found out something about me. Sometimes they were lies. And he would blackmail me saying he's going to tell my mom he's going to do this. And I developed my anxiety from there. I developed my panic attacks from there. But I didn't know that they were panic attacks, anxiety at the time because I was really young. I was like 18, 17. So, yeah. And there's a lot of rumors going on in my hood or whatever. And they believed it. And then, like, it's like, I look back and I'm like, you really sat there, talk shit about me with your friends because I was exploring myself? But you did so much shit that I could say, even with one of my friends in high school and he was older, and the girl came to my house and he did something with the girl that I knew, and I called her my friend at the time. And you just asked me not to tell my mom or whatever. But you want to go and talk about me, but you did something like that. So anyways, yeah, panic attack, it's coming. So anyways, yeah, it was just crazy to think that, like, you know, your family's not your family. Like, you know, when people don't have your back, they don't have your back. They really didn't have my back. And so I started dating my son's father now. And he's the type of person, like, he's very observant. You know, he's a dumbass and he's manipulative and all sorts of things. But he already knew something was off because he looked at it like he basically, like, came and met them and he was just observing everybody. Like, he was like, something weird is going on, like, with your family, like, you know? And he's like, the way they treat you compared to how they treat my brothers, it was different. Like, and he never got a bad vibe from my dad. He just always got the bad vibe from my mom. All my friends that I grew up with in middle school, high school, whatever, they never liked my mom. They always thought my mom was, like, the vibe was off with her. Everybody has said that to me. And so he said that, like, he's like, so when I started to tell him more, I used to beg him, like, my son's father not to, like, I wanted to sleep at his house. And my mom at the time wasn't letting me. And then I started to rebel a little bit more after. I started to just do it anyways. But I would beg him to let me sleep at his house because I didn't want to go home. And he didn't know that I was still getting abused at the time. He didn't know that it was hard for me to be, like, sexually active. He didn't know all that stuff until I told him. And, like, he didn't know how to help me because we were both young. I was 18, he was 19. So we were both, he never really heard of it and he didn't believe it until he met my dad. And that's when he's seen it more. But he started to understand a lot of things and he started to be like, yo, like, this is weird or whatever. So we started sleeping out more. We started going out to motels. We started to, like, chill out, go out, eat, whatever, just to kind of get my mind off things that was happening when I wasn't with him. Even though he was, at those times, he was still an asshole. But those times kind of helped me get through those moments that I was struggling a lot. And so a lot of people thought I was weird. A lot of people thought, like, oh, Sheenique's just emotional. Like, she just lashes out sometimes. They don't know why. Like, why is she doing that? And I didn't understand my emotions at the time. I didn't understand what was going on. Because sometimes I just felt like I wasn't there. And I felt like my mind was honestly somewhere else all the time. Like, majority % of the time, I was always, like, not there. Like, I was just out of my body. And so basically, like, my dad's like, oh, like, I don't like him. He's a bad person or whatever. A part of me also understands what my dad was saying, but at the same time, I also thought my dad was jealous because at the end of the day, somebody else was having me and he's not having his way with me anymore. As fucked up as that sounds. And my mom basically, got jealous at the fact that my boyfriends would buy me stuff. It really got worse when my son's father, because my son's father would buy me a lot of stuff and it would be expensive. So he would buy me a lot of shit that was so expensive. And she would literally go to him and she would be like, dude, you should take it back. Like, does she need to pay you back? Do I need to pay you back? Like, why are you buying her these stuffs? And he's looking at my mom like, you're weird. Like, why you, like, how, and even when, you know, when you're meeting your boyfriend's meeting their parents for the first time, she literally talked about me for 2 seconds. All she said, oh, like, you know, I want you to focus on school. Then she would stop talking about me. Go straight to my brother's a rapper. Or he does this, he does that. So it's like the vibe that my son's father got from her was like, she doesn't really give a fuck what Sheenique does. Like, she just saying that to make it seem like she cares, but she doesn't. Because, like, she would, like, he's like, majority, it felt like he was interviewing for dating for my brother. It was more of like, she was talking about what my brother does. He's a rapper, he does this. Do you listen to it? You should tell your friends. Like, instead of asking him questions about, you know, what's your intentions with my daughter, you're sitting there and you're fucking not even asking him nothing. You're not even caring about it. So he told me that my mom was fucking weird. Like, he just said, like, she's weird. And so, you know, he never experienced like that, because obviously sexual abuse in homes, you don't really hear about it. And most of the time you usually hear about it from people who are not from the home. So, like, it's rare to hear it from a family member. It was just like, he was just like, yo, it's crazy. Like, your family's fucking weird. And that's when you started to notice, like, that's when you started to believe what I was saying, because I was like, I would come there and he didn't really understand why I was acting the way I was acting too. Sometimes it would just be weird for him. But, like, which is hard, because at the same time you want your boyfriend to be super supportive of you, and he wasn't all the time. So, and I also just felt like he couldn't handle it. 18 came, and there's a couple of times before I turned 18 where he actually held me down a couple of times or tried to block me from going out of my room. And one time my brother actually caught him holding me down on my bed, and he just, like, it was a rapper, and he just, like, you know when you're kind of confused, like, you screw up your face, but then you just kept walking. And those times my mom was in the bathroom plucking out her fucking hairs under her fucking chin, whatever the fuck these people be doing at her age. Basically, fucking didn't do shit, and he didn't do shit either. My oldest brother moved out at the time, so by the time, like, it started to get really bad, he didn't know about it. Like, he really didn't know about it until like I came out later and I got pregnant for my son's father. And then so basically there's a time when I was taking a shower too, and he would always come in and try to watch me bathe myself or whatever, and just smiling with this, like, evil, wicked, like, smile. And the craziest thing, like, it's like I wanted to tell people in my area, I wanted to tell my neighbors especially, but I would do it in different ways. Like, I would do it in indirect way. I would ask questions. And at the time, I didn't know sexual abuse until high school, because high school I took a law class and we addressed sexual assault. Like, that was one of the topics. And that's how I found out. That's how I understood what was going on. And I didn't know how to process it. And I remember telling my friend one time, because we used to go out to the movies. And we used to go out to the movies all the time, and I told her, and she was, like, crying, because she was like, what the fuck's going on? Like, how the fuck? And, you know, we're so young, so you don't know how to react at that time. Like, you're like 16, 17 years old, and you're telling your friend, because she cares about you so much, all she could really do is cry and, like, not do much about it. And so that was the hardest thing about it. It was, like, not being able to tell teachers or, like, some friends, because there's no support. Like, how are they supposed to help you? I could have told a teacher, but at the same time, I didn't want to be in a home. I didn't want to be in a place where, you know, I could have been in a worse situation, or I could have been in a better situation. But it was just something that was very, very hard for me to process and deal with, because I didn't have a voice. So, yeah, like, once I hit 18, he was still living with us, my dad, and it was just kept going. The same shit every fucking day. I started to go out more though. I started to go out and explore more. So I was trying to get more out the house because I didn't want to and when I started college, my mom was a dumbass too, and she's a weirdo. Like, literally, she would be, like, following me. I had college. I had school. I would wake up 5 in the morning, get my makeup done, leave the house by, like, 6:30 to go to school or whatever. And she literally would fucking be following me outside in her fucking pajamas. Like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, I have fucking school. Like, what do you mean, where am I going? Like, you look dumb coming out and following me. Every fucking time she was doing this shit, like, you're a weirdo. And basically, like, and she knew I was in school. Like, are you retarded? I think you're a retard. So, basically, like, I would tell my dad, like, she keeps following me. Like, it's weird. Like, I'm trying to go to school. So, I would go to school with my boyfriend. And then, this is before I met him, though. I met him at my college. And basically, I would go there. We meet up after a while, after dating. And deal with our shit and school, and then walk home together. Sometimes chill at his house, then go home. And then, yeah. And so, like, basically, like, come home to that. And then I dropped out because I was, like, the program I was taking was baking, and I was just really failing that shit. Like, I was not dealing with that. I could not do the math. I only took baking because I enjoyed doing it with my dad, and I loved it. But then I realized that's not the shit I want to fucking do. So it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. Then I started to reach 19, 20, and I reached 19, I graduated from community health and child studies, and then 20 is when I got pregnant, and that was crazy, because it was unexpected, and, like, everything just worked out for me in the same time. Like, my dad was divorcing my mom, he was leaving the house, and it was on my 20th birthday, he tried to rape me, but he didn't do it. He kind of stopped him. I don't know what really happened. It was like my boyfriend was waiting for me up the street at the time, and I said I'm gonna go drop my stuff or whatever. And my dad was home, and then I was like unloading my shit, and he was trying to stop me or whatever. And he almost like tried to rape me at the time, and I was like, get off me, I have to go. And then I left or whatever, and I was just like, I can't really cry or react to it right now because I just feel so numb. And so basically, like, I went, and it was actually after my neighbors did my hair at the time because they got older and they started doing my hair, decided to do my makeup or whatever. And I went for my birthday and then slept, and then I got pregnant. And then told my mom. She already had a feeling. And then my brothers tried to fucking, like, basically hit me and, like, tell me I have an abortion. And the reason my oldest brother knew is because I was close to his girlfriend at the time, and I told her, and she's a dumbass, so she went and she told him and tried to blame it on her daughter, who was 4 at the time. Some nonsense. But anyways, I found out I was pregnant. I went to a housing fair once, in the same fucking week I found out I was pregnant. Packed my shit, my neighbors helped me, and then I left. And then my mom tried to convince my neighbors that, like, that it was okay for my brothers to want to hit me and say that they should beat me up or whatnot, they should throw me on the street. And my neighbor had to tell her, like, you do know you can get charged for that, right? And she's like, you can? Like, you made yourself as a mother look so fucking dumb to people. And then you want to come back and be like, oh, they're gossiping. Of course they're going to fucking gossip because you just made yourself look dumb. You made yourself look stupid to them. You're literally projecting, telling people that it's okay for your sons to beat up their sister because she's pregnant, not knowing that you can kill a baby in there. My mom even tried to rough me up when I was 5 weeks pregnant because that's the time I left. And my dad was the only person who could drop me there because he would take me. He's the one who's going to pay for a taxi. And, like, at the time, the staff was like, why is he dropping you? I'm like, he's the only one who can. So, like, you know, so it was just a lot. And that's when, like, I felt I was crying for, like, a week. Like, I think a week or two. Because it was so new to me to leave finally and be free. But I didn't know I had a whole nother battle, a mental illness ahead of me about being pregnant. I didn't know I had so many things. Like, I would have nightmares of him raping me. I would have nightmares of, like, him kidnapping me and trying to take me away. I struggled to eat when I was pregnant. I struggled with my emotions. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I would cry, be angry. I would have outbursts, but I was generally a nice person. Like, everybody knew me as a nice person over there. But my anger was just very silent. I was just, when I got angry, I lashed out. So basically, I went to therapy and I started telling, stuff. Like, I keep having these nightmares and I can't sleep and I sweat and I wake up. And she diagnosed me and I got diagnosed with PTSD. I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and I got diagnosed with indiscriminate friendliness. So it's when you're basically being friendly to people that are a danger to you. But you don't know, you're not aware of the cues because you got abused by somebody who was supposed to show you right, like a family member. But you're now being nice and telling people certain things about you who could be a danger to you, who you don't even know. And I was doing that. Did not realize that I was doing that. So I'm stuck with this stuff. I couldn't eat until I had to be diagnosed with, I also got diagnosed with anxiety. So I have borderline anxiety disorder. So I have the highest, like, panic attacks, fucking can't breathe, thinking, like, it's the worst. I struggle with it. And so I'm on pills, and those pills actually help me to eat, and they actually calm me the fuck down. I can't eat or sleep without taking my anxiety medication. That's why it's so fucked up how such long-term abuse can have these long-term effects on you and fuck you up. And it fucked me up for a very long time. I'm at a stable position where I can be free and I can encourage others to do the same and get therapy, but I still struggle because, like, I still have anger emotions, and I tried my best to be not the way my mother was with my kid. I tried to make him have a happy home, explore shit, like, go out. My son opened me up to a whole new fucking world. I had to learn the TTC at 18. I learned so many things, like, when he was born. I explored so much with him. And I'm so grateful for my kid, even though he drives me nuts. But I'm so grateful for him. So basically, yeah. And borderline personality disorder is basically when, like, you kind of overindulge in everything. Like, you overindulge in sex, drinking, sometimes drugs, sometimes very spending excessive money, emotional outbursts you cannot fucking control, anger, you're angry all the fucking time, like, you're mean as fuck. And people don't know think I'm mean, but I can be really fucking mean. I just choose to because I'm more in control of my emotions, but I can be really mean. And I can feel no ways about it. I will feel no ways about it. And I got my voice after a few, like, my son was like 4. I got my voice and I started speaking up around females that I was beefing with at the time at Massey Center and outside. And I didn't really have much faith. These girls were just jealous of me. And so basically I just, like, started speaking up after a while. I started not giving a fuck. I also don't show people my emotions and my anger, that I really just want to see that. And I just stay silent because I'm not going to show you how angry I could get. But I started to get really rude after a while because I was like, fuck you. I don't care about you anymore. And it wasn't even just them. It was just my family too. And my family didn't find me until a year after I moved there, in a few months. And I started to try and build a relationship with them. But even after I showed my mom my son at 2 months, she threw a plastic bag with a onesie in my face and said, here. And, it was just crazy. Like, they literally, like, were even trying to tell my brother. Like, at the time, they were literally trying to tell my son's father that I'm going to ruin your life. You should leave her. Go find another girl. And as a mother, you telling somebody that, like, are you okay? Like, you're not normal. So basically, yeah, my son's father, they even made a rumor saying that my brother, who's a rapper, that my son's father was getting with me because he was trying to get rich off my brother, who, you're not rich at all. You're not even signed. You still live with my fucking mom. How the fuck does that even make sense? So he made a rumor saying that, lying, all this kind of type of shit. They told people I was on drugs. My dad said I was using drugs. And when I came out about the abuse, lying, saying that shit, and they went with it. After I wrote a letter to them saying that I was getting abused by him, they were in denial. They still chose to believe him, but I think they all knew. My oldest brother found out after the letter, and then my brother knew, my mom knew, and so basically, you know, I think they're just liars, and I hate them. And that's my story. And yeah, like sometimes and relationships are hard for me. Like they're very hard. Friendships too. I don't trust a lot of people, but I'm open to caring. But once I think I've grown now so much that I'm like, it's a fuck you thing. Like once you cross those boundaries, I don't care anymore. I don't care about you, whatever. So when you fucking wanna try me, like I'll put you in your face, period now. But I've learned to like channel both sides. Like, you know, your shadow side where it's really dark and then your light side where it's like your normal, whatever. I've learned to channel both sides. And so, yeah, that's what I struggle with all the time. And just being a parent, it's hard. And, you know, I think I got a boy and I'm getting another boy because they both help me to like, this is the love that I want. If you can't love me like my kids can love me, like my sons, then why are you here? And like, so yeah, my son loves me, even though he loves his father a lot, but he loves me a lot. Like, he's like my best friend or whatever. He's like, you're my best friend, come chill with me, like, you know. And sometimes I do want my space, but like, he's excited to have a brother. And so yeah, that's my story. And it's been hard. It's been really hard trying to struggle with that. I kept it in for so long, but I just couldn't deal with the rumors that I was hearing that my family was saying to block it. And I came out with my music now because I'm starting my album now, and the first song is called Go to Hell, and I'm working on the second song. I haven't been able to go back into class because I just recovered from pneumonia, but I'm hoping to do it next week to start back singing that song because we started working on it and then I got really, really sick. So yeah, and I just wasn't able to do it. So it's going to take a while because I think I have over 40 something songs in different chapters. I'm naming them in chapters. So the first chapter is obviously my family, and it's going to go into detail of each abuse, how I felt, what I was struggling with. And, you know, the first song, I think people were shocked. Like, I don't think people knew how to react to that. And now it's blowing up a little bit more. People are starting to listen to it. People are looking at my TikTok, my Instagram and stuff. And I've seen other verified songwriters look at my page and whatnot. And my first EP was about a girl that I dated, which was very like wild for me and was nice. That album was nice. But I do think my voice has developed since then. And I got a better engineer because that one I can't fuck with him anymore. He was something else. But yeah, this album is going to be a big ass album. I'm literally addressing family, myself, guys I've dated, the girls I dealt with at Massey. Speaking about Massey, my healing, my therapist, who so sad that we had to let go and I have to see somebody else. But she worked with me a lot and she has changed my life in so many ways. I think I've made peace with the fact that she's gone. I think a part of me does want to cry, but I don't think I've had the moment of crying. I think I'll cry when I'm actually recording the song and it's out. But it's been a wild ride with her. And I appreciate her so much. She's got me through so much things. And I can finally breathe again. I can finally live life and be happy. Even though I still struggle with these things. But, like, this is my story. That's done now. But I encourage you guys all to fucking, like, yo, if you're going through the same thing, if you went through the same thing, like, therapy's a long ride. And not a lot of people can sit through it. But, like, I promise you, after, like, 3-4 weeks, after you sit through that shit, and if you have the right therapist, like, that shit will bring me to rainbows. Like, you will literally be at peace with yourself. And you won't be chained to this fucking trauma anymore. I was chained to that shit. That shit made me fucking miserable. That shit had me feeling the most insecure because I couldn't... My whole sexual body was traumatized. Like, I could not feel any type of enjoyment with sex, with anything like that, because it was traumatizing me. Each time I just felt like I was getting traumatized over and over again. And you don't want to fucking feel like that. And there's girls out here who go through that and they're selling themselves right now. There's girls like that who are on drugs. People are doing drugs because of that shit. People are like confused because of that shit. They don't even know themselves, their sexuality or whatever. For example, gay, bi, or whatever. I'm bi, I don't give a fuck. That's a choice. That's something I'm just attracted to fucking females. I've been attracted to females since I was young. But stuff like that can make you very confused about what you really want. You know, some people are afraid to explore that option. Here comes the devil. My son, he's supposed to be in the camera. So, yeah, it really had me confused. And also because of like you have to like really break all these trauma bonds, all these trauma cycles from what the hell your parents taught you. Like, I was taught that like going to psychics and tarot readers was bad, or being gay was like bad or whatever. Now I don't give a fuck because I like females. Sorry, my language. I like females. I love tarot. I do tarot. I love getting readings done. And now I just be careful who you go to though. But all those things I love about myself, and I learned to enjoy it. And I don't think they're bad for me. Maybe they're not for you, but for me, I enjoy it. And once you come to a point to actually love yourself and be like, you know, this is for me. I don't really care what other people think. This is for me. This is what I enjoy. This is what I love. And therapy is one stepping stone that will help you get there. And I hope, like, this video helps you guys to really go to that and encourage that. Like, I remember I heard a priest tell me, like,
Mom, I have a fever.
Oh, you're getting sick. It's okay. Like, I had a priest one time tell me that a lot of people who get sexually abused are gay. So what about the people that don't even go through that fucking experience? Does that mean that that means they're gay too? No, it doesn't. Some of you are just like, if you like, you wake up and you're born and you like girls, that's it. You like guys, that's it. It is what it is. But for you to say something like that is so ignorant to me. And this is why I don't do the churches thing. I believe in God. I believe in the universe. I believe in whatever. God has brought me my kid. My second kid has done so much shit for me that I never thought would be possible. But the whole religious shit, I'm not into. Like, I'm not into it. I won't bash religion, obviously, because I will accept all. But, yeah. So now that is my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a trigger fucking warning. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I guess they'll know about me and what I struggle with, and you know, being a single mom of 2 now. It's hard, but I had somebody tell me like it always gets better, and he's like, keep your head up, it's always there, like it's always gonna get better no matter what you do. So remember to keep your head up, and you can literally get to me. You can literally get to the position where I'm at. And don't let nobody tell you that you can't get your own place, you can't do nothing as a young mom. You can. Even as an older person, you can still live your life and be happy. Don't let nothing stop you from the past. And deal with your trauma now so that you're fucking free and you can live life again. You don't want to leave this fucking earth having that shit on your head at all. You don't. You want to be happy and explore things in your life. So yeah, thank you for staying tuned if you got this far. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat if you want. I don't think I put my Snapchat, but it's in the description below. This is Javion.
Hi, what's up?
I need to clean his nose because he's not feeling good. He got 2 shots, and so they said there would be a fever. So yeah, he's into YouTube and all that, so he's into the whole subscribing.
Pull up.
You're gonna throw up?
Yeah.
Okay, go to the toilet. You okay?
I'm gonna be sick. So can you give me a towel and pour some water?
Yeah, because he knows that when he has a fever, I put a towel on his head to like lower his temperature. So yeah, I need to go run to the store and get some medicine. I don't think I have any. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say, and I hope you guys subscribe and like and enjoy my content and whatever, and check me on TikTok. I'll be going back and doing my readings on TikTok after baby's born. I just had to take a break because of my energy. Really tired, really tired, and also high risk pregnancy. So, but yeah, donate to my registry, subscribe, and just, you know, welcome to my life and all about me. Bye.